so well.
What up, homies? Uh, what's going on, guys? I wanted to do a trade review from today that didn't work. Um, so I'm gonna jump into it. This one should be quick. Um, but I just want to go over what I saw and why I took a trade and was kind of hoping for the best when I shouldn't have been hoping. I should have been more sure of anything. So, again, playing Spy. Uh, ugh. It's like we were setting up for a trend day, before the market even opened. And I talk about the EMAs a lot. It's pretty much all I talk about now. But what you could see on the 10-minute chart, coming to the screens this morning, you could see, can't see it now because they've already crossed, but I'll zoom in here on the 10-minute. We had this kind of like this congestion kind of before the market opened, and the 10 EMA was down here a little bit, and I was kind of thinking in my head that, you know, um, from what I've studied and from what I've seen, is if, I play everything based off of the 10-minute chart pretty much. Yeah, I'll look at the three, look at the five, look at the one, but usually, like when I'm picking a trend or when I'm starting to see a trend or starting to see what kind of day it's going to shape out to be, whether it be a trend day to the upside, downside, it's going to be a chop day, or we're going to have a range day. I use a 10 minute, and on the 10 minute, uh, it's mostly going to be the 20 EMA and the 200, right? That's going to determine how the day is going to be for me and from what I've seen. Um, Again, just to kind of go over it really quick, you know if the 20 is below the 200 and it's like really below, um, there's an opportunity for it to be a trend day, going up to the 200, which would kind of make it be like a range type of day. If you have the 20 above the 200 and it's crossing the 200, then it's like a downtrend kind of day. Not to say that it's gonna like be that all day, but you can kind of count on there being a downtrend until it finds a bounce area, some support level or some zone. Um, but going into today, you can see on the chart that like, hey, we were below the 200, we're really close to the 200. So that tells me, hey, look, the market's gonna make up its mind. It's gonna either cross or reject. So we can either trend up or bounce off and trend down. So I didn't take a trade the first couple minutes of the day, like I always do. I wanted the trade to present itself and be there and be an A plus at it for me to hit. Looking on the 3 minute chart, what we saw was, um, yeah, the 20 EMA was above the 200 on the 3 minute chart, which is great. That gives me confidence that this move, that the 20 is going to cross the 200 on the 10, has a likely possibility of being the trend kind of day where we're going to grind upwards. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's a possibility because you can also ride a short opportunity or have some puts if you think the 20 is going to come back down and cross the 20, the 200 on the 3 minute chart, which would invalidate this trend right here and would be a bounce and be a downtrend. So I waited for the opportunity to come. Yeah, we had this pop in the morning. I had this like kind of this no trade zone. It's kind of like it's been choppy here. You guys have seen it in all my videos for the last like 2 weeks. Um, every trade I've been in around here has just kind of been like not a good trade. So I have that zone there, just a reminder that this is kind of a fucky area to be trading in. So just kind of steer clear of it. So um, I wanted this to be validated, right? This upward trend. It took some time, but it finally crossed and got there. And then if you guys have seen, I added the 8 EMA to my 10-minute chart. I don't know why I didn't have it there before, but I have it now. But you can also see like as we grind up on the 3 minute chart, we can see that it's riding the 8 EMA, right? So that's another thing we look for. If is it riding above or below the 8? Is the 8 above the 20? that's kind of how I gauge my day, right? So I'm always looking for the EMA crosses. The 8 and the 20 is like a big one for me. It's a big indicator. So I should have it on my 10 minute, which I do now. Um, so yeah, first 15 minutes goes by. I'm ready to take a trade. Don't see any real opportunity for me to get in because I've kind of already missed the move right out of the gate, you know. Um, but what I did get interested in was this area right here. This little congestion area where the EMA is looking like they're getting ready to cross, right? Um, I lost on my trades today, right? And that's on me because I was trying to go against the trend, which is never a fucking good idea. But I was still kind of, waiting for the real like confirmation that we're really getting away from the EMAs, the 200 on the 10 minute, which at this time it was like what 11:30, um, around like 11:30 area, Eastern time. So that's kind of right here, this little flag area, this little congestion area. Um, I was looking for an opportunity for this to kind of come back down. I didn't think we were going to grind up as much as we did today, or as long as we did today. So I thought maybe we're going to get an exhaustion move here, right? So my idea was, look for that EMA cross, look for that 8 to cross the 20, to take it short, and then our target would be. I still think we'd be in a trend day, but my target would be the 20 EMA down here, right? So anywhere from up to 8, let's call it 383 down to 382, 381, around that area. That would be the short idea. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But what happened is I never got that EMA crossed the way I wanted it to go, right? I got the flush candle that I always look for. I also got some validation that, hey, we're going in a downtrend. We had some support here at this 382.38 level that I've had, but it bounced right off of it. So the EMA's never really crossed. I jumped in early, I think based on this candle right here. Got stopped out. I believe I got stopped out there, somewhere around here, maybe even at the retrace. And then I got back in again because I was like, okay, here's the candle that it's gonna validate this trade. But it bounced off it again and it reclaimed. Right, I actually flipped long on this. Excuse me. On this trade specifically, because I was looking at this 10 minute and I'm like, where on this 10 minute it has to crack the 8 EMA to validate the trade that I have in mind on the 3 minute, right? It tapped the 8 EMA. It kind of wick through a little bit, broke through that level a little bit, but it was just a wick. And it didn't seem like it had strength to really crack the EMA that I'm looking for that like that flush or for that miniature flush that I was looking to get. Um, so I took the trade here, stopped out again, thinking to go short. Stopped out on this candle. And then I flip bias. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why am I gonna fight this trend? Let's just ride it long, because it's clearly bouncing off the EMAs on all time frames. Let's see, what time was it even on the one? I think it was. What time is this? This was 11:30. So that would be right in this area. Yeah, right here. My chart's been bugging me today, so that's another part of why I was frustrated. But you can see on the one, right? We got this little flush here. My idea is validated, is valid on the 1 minute, but it had some support at that level I was talking about, right? That 382.38, bounced off it. It was kind of like a pivot area down here as well. So it reclaimed a little bit, or was trying to reclaim, dipped again, found some support on that, kind of on that 65 EMA, and then reclaim the 8. That's what we look for. If it's going to reclaim the 8, then get out of the trade, because it could either chop or it could bounce long, which it did bounce long, right? But my signal to go long on this was this candle right here, right? This little doji candle, perfect 3 bar, perfect idea as far as validation and reclaiming the 8. Perfect bounce off the 8 EMA, or not perfect, but pretty damn near close to the 8 EMA, here on this 10-minute chart, and wanting to break this whole flat top area we had here. So I went long, took some calls, uh, and yeah, it was a winning trade, right? Perfect in my eyes. Once it reclaimed that 8 EMA, it did exactly what I wanted to do. Did I hold for long? No, I didn't, because I was kind of right on the day and I was trying to make my money back on those chops that I had just taken. Um, so I was looking again for another perfect setup, right? And it kind of presented itself again. You can kind of see it already on the 3 minute. Let's see, where is it here? It is 12:36. So right there. See if my charts don't bug out again. Here we go, right? This is what I look for in every single trade. Um, I'm in like the short mindset now. I don't know why. I mean, I think I know why. It's because it's worked so well, and when I see it, it works really well. The one thing I didn't really take into full consideration, which I mentioned earlier in the beginning, is that um, I was fighting trend, and I was fighting trend because all my wins have come from shorts. Um, So I was kind of like just waiting for that perfect opportunity for that fade to come back down to some area and retest some area, whether it be the 20 or come back down to the 200. That's kind of what I was looking for. Ideally, my trade today was like if this thing went short, I was going to wait for this thing on the 10 minute to come all the way back down to the 200. Which would be a target, which is it's a pretty big range, and that would have been a banger of a trade had I gotten that, but it never came. It was just there was just too much support all day long for that to happen. So um, just gonna go over my last losing trade of the day that kind of just put me on the shelf for the day. I took my foot off and just decided today's not my day. I was fighting trend too many times. But again, same trade, same idea presented itself, right? EMA cross. I'm looking for that EMA cross. Where did I fuck up? We're in an uptrend today, right? So um, that was the big fuck up. We had the AEMA cross here, not with a whole lot of volume on the 3, but it did happen, right? That is 12:36. That is right around here. Yep. So if you look at the 1, right, we have this congestion, this really tight bullshit that happens all the time, and then we have like that flush candle that comes down, right? Uh, we have some support down here around this 383.14, which is like a pre-market high from the other day, which was an area that it's kind of been respecting the last 2 days. Um, so, what was I looking for on this? I was looking for that crack. Right? I want that smooth fucking sail to come down on the 3. We are really extended on the 3 from the 200, which is like way the fuck down here. Um, So, had this thing worked, where's my target? My target is these zones, it's these EMAs. Ultimately, it's a 200, but that's asking for a lot. So, that I do know that now. I'm like, I'm not thinking greedy. I'm not revenge trading right now. That's kind of what I was thinking this time. So what happened was we had that little bounce, that support area. I'm pretty sure there's like another pivot here. Yeah, if you look across the board, there's a pivot area down here, right? So I'm asking for a lot on this trade, and it has support. And I'm actually going to put a line here now because who knows, going into tomorrow or even next week, this could be an area of some support here. Let's lock that thing down. Um, so yeah, that's where I fucked up, right? I'm getting too greedy. I could have taken this thing short to that area, but I'm looking for the bigger move, and ultimately I never got the big move today. Instead, I got chopped up. EMA crosses do work. Where I fucked up today again is I'm fighting the trend or going against the trend, right? There was opportunity in the flushes, which this is an opportunity here. It's a quick scalp. I'm not looking for quick scalps. I'm looking for bigger ones, but I should have taken advantage of these quick scalps. I didn't see it at the time. Again, I was a little greedy here, thinking that we're gonna get that flush. The 10-minute was showing, it was getting really tight. The EMAs are getting really tight again. It's getting a little choppy, but it just never cracked. It just had too much support all day long. So um, I did hit my max loss on the day. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna fight this thing anymore. Let's just let this thing go. Count this up as a lesson learned. Um, but yeah, I think I'm short biased now because I've seen the way my plays work. They work out great. this is probably going to go in my playbook now, just to see and backtrack and back test if this kind of trend works for days like this. Because if it does, then the reason I didn't go long a lot is because I wasn't seeing a whole opportunity for me to get long. I didn't know, and I don't know. I'm still working on this. Is like, where do I pick my targets when I go long? Do I just fucking throw it out there and let it stick and see where it goes, or do I, have to chart more and target certain levels? Which is, what I do every day, but it's easier to do on the short side because we already know what support and resistance is below. When we crack through it, or we're running down towards it, we can have an idea in mind, especially if we have EMAs to target, on the downside. Usually, we'll target the 20 EMA on the flush, or we'll target the 200 on certain time frames. On these time frames today, it was really overextended, so for me to target the 200, that's asking for a lot, and it's already finding support the whole way up. So for it to crack through all those levels of support is really hard, and to pick a target to go long is also really hard because we are grinding up, right? So that's where I fucked up today. I'm not happy with it. I'm actually not upset at the way I trade. I'm upset at my P&L for today. I'll throw that out there for sure. But I'm happy in the lesson that I learned today, which is, obviously don't fight the trend. I know not to fight the trend, and I wasn't really trying to fight it, but I was just looking for the opportunity. There's that opportunity that's going to flush. Let's look for that. And I thought this was my A+ setup. It just wasn't on the right day. So that's where I fucked up, and you can see clearly if you look at any time frame chart. Anytime you see an EMA cross, it finds support somewhere. And it just happens to work out on the long side. Would I have loved to been long from out the gate? Yeah. Where I really fucked up is not taking a trade down here on this 10-minute chart, right? Once I kind of saw this possibly happening today, I should have found, I could have taken a position to my no chop zone that I had here. Which is from call it 875, because I do have some lines there, up to 8150. It could have went long just for that scalp, and then waited. But it's a lesson learned. I'm not tripping too bad about it. It's just, it does suck that to know that you're right on the trend of the day and not being able to capitalize on it is where I'm mad at myself. But also, as stated, like I just said a minute ago, it's hard for me to pick targets to go long and to pick what strike price on calls. And I've been so short biased for the last 2 months because the way the market's been going is I haven't focused a whole lot on calls. So that's where I fucked up, and today was a good lesson. So EMAs work extremely well if you're on the right side of the trend. I was on the wrong side hoping for it to flush, and I didn't get it. So got my notes. I got this whole day pretty much mapped out the way I want. I'm going to review this shit, so the next time we find a trend day or this opportunity presents itself again where the EMAs are, they're either crossing to the upside, who knows, tomorrow morning this thing could be way overextended, and the day, I haven't even looked at the daily chart yet, so the daily could look good and we could still ride this bitch up. So it's just a matter of finding the targets on the long for me is what I need to work on. So that's it. I know I rambled a little bit longer, but I just wanted to go over my trade, or potential trades, and my losing day, and maybe you guys had the same problem and didn't know where to pick or where to go. But EMAs do work. Again, I will say that I'll let the sword I'm willing to die on at the moment. So yeah, I will see you guys later. Tomorrow's the last trading day of the year, so hopefully it's a good one. If not, I'm happy to take my foot off the gas and just chill and hang out with you guys. So, catch you guys later. Let's go! I'm F-R-E-S-H, yeah, ho. Your man got money, bitch, but I got more. Pimpin' is alive and it's doing so well.